I'm David Hepworth. Thanks for clicking this Word in Your Ear podcast, videocast thing for which there is no name. Mark Ellen and I have been creating in this line since 2007. And if any of it has met with your approval, then please click to subscribe because it helps. Leave a comment because we like to hear from you, and maybe even consider becoming a Patreon supporter because then, well, you'll be one of us. Visit patreon.com/wordinyourear for details.
This is Word Down Your Way, in which those about to tour salute you.
Well, welcome to this, and someone that you'll know from the magnificent sitcom Flight of the Concords, very, very big in this household, who's since made albums and written for film, where he's acquired what I think is the surely unique distinction of having his songs sung by Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga and Homer Simpson and Kermit the Frog.
Yes.
Bret McKenzie, really nice to see you. Fantastic.
Likewise, yeah, lovely to be here.
And you're in Los Angeles. What are you doing in LA?
I'm in Los Angeles pitching a new animated movie. So this week I'm going from studio to studio with a team, and I'm the songwriter on the team. And I basically sing in the room little snippets of possible songs. It's like it's a real salesman. It's like a traveling salesman.
I want to know what pitching an animated movie is like, because you can't say the star is so-and-so and so-and-so, can you? Presumably.
Well, they have they've drawn cool pictures of the characters.
Right.
And then I sit there pretending to be I'm going for a Freddie Mercury type vibe, but it's coming out more as Eddie Vedder.
Right. And you just sing along to
I just sing along to myself.
Great.
To the backing track that's in my brain.
Are you facing a load of unamused Hollywood executives? Is
mostly they can't believe I've got the audacity just to sing at them live. But I keep the songs short. They're 15, 20 seconds. I play the room. That's
and you have to say, imagine this being sung by a penguin or whatever. Yeah. But we'll get onto that later. We're going to get onto the Muppet stuff. But just very quickly, can you remember? We're going to take you back to Wellington, New Zealand, when you grew up. But can you remember the music that was playing on the record record player at home when you were a kid?
Well, I was thinking about this. I grew up with my mum and dad, sort of separate places, but my mum was a ballet teacher, still is. She's almost 80, still teaches ballet. Wow. So music in our house was, everyone did dancing, and there was a live piano player playing. In those days, now they, just play CDs and stuff, but at the beginning you had a pianist playing in the room. So music, she listened to music all day teaching ballet. When she came home, there was no music. She didn't want music playing. But that was like classical piano. But my dad was training racehorses, and I remember very clearly driving around in the horse truck, had the cab at the front with the bench seats, and he loved Billy Joel, and he loved Conway Twitty.
Yes,
good work.
Right,
that's good.
I think these are just the cassettes he had that were the slightly sun warped that had been playing for years. And then the other song he loved, which mainly it really suited his voice. He was a singer as well when he was younger, and was 16 Tons by Tennessee Ernie Ford.
Yeah.
Do you know that song? So, and he could sing it beautifully because he sort of had a baritone voice. Yeah. So he basically listened to music that made him sound really good when he sang along.
Brilliant. We've never had that quoted. We've asked millions of people about the early records they played, and nobody has ever talked about Tennessee Ernie Ford as 16.
It's a pretty deep cut.
It's a deep cut. That's exactly what it is.
Here we are. There aren't many places you can even talk about that kind of thing, but we understand. You're among friends.
I know the words of that. Yeah. There's no difficulty.
When did you first
one
kind
fist
of recognize
the other of steel? If the right one doesn't hit you, the left one will. I mean, really good lines in there.
Absolutely.
There's some good ones. Yeah. Anyway.
When did you first start connecting with particular songwriters? When did you recognize that these were certain songwriters that you liked?
When I was a teenager, there were two quite disparate sounds that struck with me and my friends. One was, we were all musicians into the arts. One was Leonard Cohen. We loved Leonard Cohen. We loved the album I'm Your Man, which I think came out in 88. And this was 1990. I was at high school, so 1991. So I thought it was really old. It was actually only a couple of years old.
Yeah. It just sounds old.
Sounds old. And one of the funny thing was my voice didn't break till I was a bit older. So I was singing along to I'm Your Man. But I was like, I'm your man. It was ridiculous. This 14-year-old, I was singing in the choir. I was an alto in the school boy choir trying to sing, first we take Manhattan, then we take Berlin. And anyway, we loved those songs. We loved how funny they were. It's quite a comedy group of buddies I had, and we loved the jokes and the weirdness and the cassia tone. He basically used the cassia tone as his rhythm section for that song, I'm Your Man. It's like a cassia tone preset.
And he plays little tiny solos, doesn't he? On
like the really bad piano setting on a cassia tone. And I thought it was just astonishing. And I maybe he didn't have enough money. That's what.
It was his comeback, wasn't it? It was a really successful comeback, wasn't it, that record? He'd had quite a while in the wilderness, hadn't he, before that record?
I get confused. I know he went into the sort of Buddhist retreat, but that was
that was later.
Well, for me, this was just brand new. I didn't really have any context. Yeah, but that was big for me. And the other sound that was massive, not so much a songwriter, but not so many lyrics, was James Brown.
Right.
Me and my friend, we started an instrumental funk band when we were 15, and we loved James Brown. And I was the drummer, so I spent a good year playing funky drummer.
Right.
I don't know if you know that song, but it's
Clyde Stubblefield or whatever.
It's this beat, that's like that shuffle, that feel, and then that drum got sampled. That drum beat got sampled for about 10 years. Yeah.
So did you have James Brown type discipline in your funk band? Were people fined?
Were you fined for mistakes on the drums? You could make a net loss at the end of the gig.
The leader of the band was the guitar player. He was quite militant about, but no, we didn't get fired. We didn't have any pay to get docked.
Right.
But we did. Age Pryor's the guy who's leading the band. He had this genius idea to do a tour of the girls' schools in our city.
Good idea.
So it was because we were at a boys' school. So we did a tour. It was a lunchtime tour. Each day we played a different school, girls' school, and we became incredibly famous in a very specific generation of
demographic. Listen, that's the demographic that everybody aims at when they start groups, isn't it?
It is. To be fair, the main reason people are in groups. That's right.
Nothing wrong with that. So you were into James Brown, Leonard Cohen, and you must have been aware that this was not what the average teenager was into at the time. What should you have been into?
Yeah, what were all your mates at school listening to?
Oh, we were so depressed when we go to parties and people were playing kind of, I don't know, average kind of rock pop songs and we'd always hijack the stereo and start playing 70s funk.
Must have been enormously popular.
Yeah. Who do you remember seeing?
Popular amongst ourselves.
Party ends here. Who do you remember seeing, in the first gigs you saw then?
The first gigs they're all New Zealand bands because there weren't like international acts that I would be able to go. And I think U2 played Wellington, but couldn't go to that. I was too little. And but the first acts there's a band called The Front Lawn, which I'm very unlikely to know, but he became a very famous New Zealand songwriter, Don McGlashan.
We know Don McGlashan.
You know Don McGlashan? Yeah. So the Mutton Birds, Blam Blam Blam.
We've met him. Yeah.
Oh, right. Well, he's kind of, like...
I never knew he had a group called The Front Lawn. The Front Lawn is such a New Zealand name for a band of those.
Yeah, then they were deep New Zealand. It was him and Harry Sinclair, and they did narrative comedy songs. they did a show, and it was all about New Zealand. They had a song that went something like, it was like a conversation. They'd take a conversation and put in someone that was like, "G'day, how you doing? Oh, pretty good. Yeah. Oh, what have you been up to? Oh, not too much. How about you?" And so that's a whole song is just them, these two guys talking to each other about how they haven't seen each other in a long time and life's been pretty bad. And I saw this, they did this as a stage show, and they'd sing on stage and they had little stories within it. And there's another amazing song about they're going to visit their friend Eugene, and they find Eugene's not there, but his wife's there sleeping with someone else. And they're like, we should probably just go. We should probably leave. And anyway, really funny narrative songs that would, really massively influential on me. Yeah.
So is there a New Zealand sense of humour? Can you characterise it?
Well, I think it is very much, there's a famous comedian called John Clark who did a character called Fred Dagg, who was a farmer. And I think there's something about that still resonates pretty strong, which is kind of like, oh, yeah, g'day. G'day, how you doing, David? How you going, Mark? Yep, bloody good to be here. Yep. Oh, sorry, excuse me, that'll be the phone. Just really, and he's like, he does this TV thing where he's like, this is my son, Dave. This is my other son, Dave. This is my third son, Dave. And that's
so
Dave.
The idea is just massive ordinariness, really.
Massively ordinary.
Nothing happening at all.
Nothing happens, and it's a bit ridiculous. And that's kind of the New Zealand sense of humour.
That's good.
It's not really wordy. Like I feel like British, there's a lot of comedy in the UK that's very wordy.
Yeah.
New Zealand is not it's not so much wordplay. It's more small reaction to largely, to high emotional drama.
Very good. Very good.
How did Flight of the Concords come about then? You and Jermaine had a band, didn't you, I think, at some stage?
Well, no, that was our band. We were trying to be actors, and we weren't doing very well. We'd all audition for things and no one would get any jobs. So we thought we'd start a band while we were waiting around, and we were flatting together, and neither of us could really play guitar. I played piano and everything, but we got some guitars, and we would just, we had a few chords, and we started writing songs, which we then sang to our flatmates. And it was around that time when you have a lot of spare time. I mean, we would sit in the flat for 7 hours working on our song. Like there was a song called Fudu Fafa. It's this French song. We sat there for hours. We would play it over and over again, trying to get these patterns, the strum right, just saying French words, laughing. I mean, several hours ago, the flatmates would have gone to work and come back, and we're still there playing the same song.
Got to verse 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, and then we did a Fringe Festival gig, and the doors sort of started opening into comedy clubs, and we went to Edinburgh and things. But yeah, that was how it kind of started, more as something, as a side project. Mm.
Were you appearing on kind of comedy bills? I'm interested in this,
Yeah, Wellington is very small. It's a small city. I mean, I don't know what it's like. Maybe like the size of, I don't know. It's got a bit of a Brighton feel.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every Thursday night there was a comedy night. That was the only night, and so we would play that comedy night, and start off would be that band opening, and then we started becoming, each Thursday we'd go and sing 2 or 3 songs, and we had 7 or 8 really devoted fans who thought we were the best thing in the world.
This is just like Flight of the Concords itself here. Is it?
Yes, yeah, you'll see the show is very much like our life.
lone obsessed figures, slightly mad.
Yeah. So from the very beginning, we did have these people who really loved, very supportive and loved us, and that was kind of great, because they would boy us.
It's quite difficult, isn't it, doing musical things that are funny, or some of it's funny or whatever. People don't know what to expect, do they?
No, except in a comedy and if it's interesting, because we thought we would be a band, but we just ended up being a bit funny, and then playing. Our gig was at a comedy club, so if we'd ended up playing, I think, in a rock club, we might have become a bit more like Ween or something. We might have become more of a band that's funny, but a bit more musical. Like there was that song by Beck, Deborah, which was a big influence on us. which is about him falling in love with a woman in the supermarket. And it's a ridiculous song, really funny song, but that's within an album that is not funny songs. If that makes sense. Yeah, but I think it's just circumstance that we leaned that way, and we're both naturally, which is very, very funny. And but he wasn't looking to make a comedy band. Yeah, we were trying our best.
But it's interesting. You should mention you found the humour in Leonard Cohen. A lot of people don't hear the humour in Leonard Cohen at all.
No, that's true. A lot of people, it's like this. I love that song Hallelujah and everything. They're actually more. He's got a much more spiritual live. He's actually very spiritual with a sort of he was, with a charm of a boyish charm. But no, that's right. I found the lyrics hilarious, and not Hallelujah, but there's some of that pretty good. I tied you to a kitchen chair.
Yeah.
I was born. I'm made like this. I have no choice. I was born with the gift of a golden voice.
I mean, I
ache in the places I used to play. It's very good.
Up on the Tower of Song. Hank Williams, how lonely does it get? Hank Williams hasn't answered yet.
That's right.
I hear him coughing
all night long, 100 floors above me in the Tower of Song.
That's right. That's so
fun. I mean, it's pretty funny, man, and beautiful. But yeah,
I like the way that you always identified the humour in other groups and could send them up. There's a bit in Flight of the Concords where you did a song called Inner City Pressure, and it's just an absolute favourite of mine. And you've obviously watched West End Girls by the Pet Shop Boys and just thought, how can we send this up in every respect?
We went pretty deep on that. One thing about that, the way we worked was, we loved the material we were always sending up. So, like, huge Bowie fans.
David Bowie, yeah.
I love the Pet Shop Boys, huge fan. And so when we were once we got in the studio, I was just having a ball trying to capture the sound that they had. And for some reason, that one we just landed really. Sometimes we'd miss, but that one we landed really well. And so we play that. There's just the recording of that. We play that live sometimes where we drop the beat and the bass line from the recording and then play over the top in the big shows, and it just goes off. People just really connect with it because we hit that one pretty solidly. Yeah.
Do you ever imagine that those songs would kind of have a life of their own when you went out and toured them? I mean, you wrote them for the comedy, and then suddenly you're taking them out and going out and performing them. I mean.
Yeah, it was unreal, especially, you'd sing it in the flat, you'd sing it to your flatmates, and then years later, we played some huge gigs playing those exactly the same song, and the people in the crowd, there might be 10,000 or 15,000 people, like O2, we played the O2, people are laughing at the same places our flatmates laughed at, it's the same song, like, it's so strange, pretty incredible, yeah. But also for an audience, I think the whole thing was also ridiculous. Like the fact that we came on stage and it was just two guitars. Sometimes we did a recorder solo, but to these giant audiences where they're used to having pyrotechnics and light shows.
Yeah.
The whole thing was almost, the audience would make more noise. The whole thing felt ironic in a really fun, playful way for everyone. Does that make sense? Like the audience. The fact that we were making such a small sound was also kind of hilarious for them, and then they liked pretending to be like they were a stadium crowd.
Yes,
we were pretending to be stadium rockers, even though it was the two acoustic guitars, and they're like, the audience joined in and kind of pretended to be as though they were, rocking out to Bowie. Anyway, it was something about the relationship with the audience and us live was really, really fun.
Irony all round.
So what's the balance in the things you do now? You say you're out there pitching to do music for a movie.
Mm-hmm.
What you've got a solo record?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now I'm mostly writing songs for films. That's probably most of my time, and it's a great job because I can write a song quite quickly, but they think it takes me a long time.
You can charge quite a lot.
You can charge quite a lot. It's a bit hit and miss because in films you kind of get paid when the movie comes out.
Which could be a long time, or it
Yeah.
could
Yeah,
not happen.
and a
at
lot
all.
of them don't get made. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a, you don't know. Yeah, it's a bit hit and miss.
So how many things might you be working on at a time, or thinking?
Probably several. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, because you don't know which ones. Which they go in really strange, erratic rhythms, and that was part of why I started doing the solo records. But was because I worked on a project for 2 years, and then it got shelved. And I was like, I've written all these songs, and now I can't even use them.
Right, so you rework them.
Well, they were too weirdly specific. I spent a couple of
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time writing songs for a Paddington Bear stage show, and it fell apart during COVID. And so I've got this handful of really specific songs with rhymes with Peru. And it's
Marmalade.
It's really, yeah, exactly. Like, I've got a Marmalade song. I mean, they're really unusable songs.
It'll come back round.
It'll come round. I know there'll be a movie at some point. They'll be like, what's Bret doing? Maybe what's up with that Marmalade song? That would be good in this movie. I should just approach some Marmalade companies and see if they need a jingle.
Oh dear.
When you write for something like The Simpsons or the Muppets, I mean, presumably there's a brief. They say to you, look, this is the character who's going to sing it, and this is broadly what we want the song about, and this is the title. Or have you got the freedom to choose all that stuff?
No. There's a really clear brief. And the Simpsons is fun. Is Tim Long and Matt Selman are the two writers who I've worked with mostly on that, and they usually have lyric ideas pretty clear, and with the Simpsons it's very like it's a very well-oiled machine. They've made it for so long, and they're trying to, like, we did this Morrissey send up, and it was very specific what they were trying to do, and so then I just got my sort of Johnny Marr vibe on and smithed it out at home above the garage, and super fun. But you might find this interesting, which is I did some songs.
Give us a taste of the lyric. I haven't heard this. So you're setting
up that one? Oh,
yeah.
Morrissey got really angry about it because the whole episode is about ridicules Morrissey, and he has a T-shirt cannon in the episode. You know, that's like firing T-shirts out to the audience.
Yeah.
Firing out sausages. You know, because he's so anti-meat. It's really ridiculous. I mean, it's not. He's called Quilloughby. I can't even remember how the song goes now, but it's all like something about. He's just complaining about England, complaining about life in the song. Yeah.
That's not like him at all.
Not remote. What would he possibly be upset about?
I don't remember how it goes. I can't remember it now, but really fun. And he got really angry about it and complained about
Perfect.
Yeah, it was
jackpot,
perfect.
That's what you want.
The Simpsons couldn't believe it.
There's nothing worse than if he said he liked it.
Yeah, they loved it. Like, this is great. We're going to release it as a single. But I was going to say, I did this work on the Minecraft movie this year, and this was one of the weirdest briefs I've ever had. So as a songwriter, they're like, we need a song for a fight sequence. It needs to be the same BPM as Holding Out for a Hero, right? Because they'd already cut the film to that song, but they wanted a different song. So, it's like 119 or something BPM. We'd like to have the 16th note hi-hats because we think they work really well. We want it to have something to do with being a hero. We want it to be sung by a female vocalist. And it can't have too many high mids because there's a lot of punching and sword fights, and that's a very busy sonic area. So I wrote this song it's mostly bass driven with a vocal over it actually worked. I'm really happy with how it came together. We had a really fun time, but I've never had a brief so specific. It's a character who wants to do this, and they like, it's a unicorn and they've got a dream, and can you sing about that?
That must be really nice, that kind of discipline. Must be really
there's something to be said for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Rather than having to get up in the morning, scratch your head, and think, what am I going to write a song about?
Yeah, I think it is. It's a bit more like a fun puzzle for me. And so then you've got these little parameters, and then it's about trying to play within that zone. It is a great job. I got to admit, it's a great.
Have you ever seen any of these things recorded?
You have to turn things around really fast, do you? Sorry.
That one, they wanted that song in like 2 days. It was unreal. That one's called Zero to Hero, and it's by Benny. Benny sings it. She's a Kiwi pop star. And it's in that Minecraft movie. And That was very unique. Normally my songs are for characters who sing on screen, more
Right.
musical style. Yeah.
So your new record, how much of that is stuff that you've worked on for something else?
There's one song on the record that was from a film that literally about a unicorn, and it's called The Only Dream I Know. It's about having a dream, and it's funny when you get a song having a dream. There's so many songs with that title. I was trying to find you look up like, what should I call it? I'm trying to find something that's slightly different to the Spotify. Yes. And anyway, so it's a song about the dream, but literally that was written for a unicorn who wants to become. No, it's based on a kid's book. It's about a donkey that wants to be a star, and accidentally one day a truck full of glue and glitter drives past the farm, and she's got a carrot on her head, and just at that moment the glue lands all over it, and then the glitter lands on top, and she looks like a unicorn, and she becomes a star. Anyway, so that song, it's actually a really beautiful little song, didn't get used by the movie. And I was like, you crazy? I love this song. What's wrong with you guys? It's a great song. Usually the more I like the song, the more nervous I get, because I don't know what it is. The more I'm like, this is a really good one. I love this one. And then they don't like something about the more I love it, often they don't use it. Anyway.
Do you have to? I'm really interested in this. You get asked to do something, you have to turn it around really quickly. Do you have to sell it?
Sometimes it's quickly.
Okay. Do you have to really
wouldn't agree with that?
Do you have to sell it to them, kind of thing? When you perform it to them, do you have to say you have to imagine it's like this? Or
usually it's a demo, so it's a recorded demo. I've learned a few tricks along the way, which I can share with you if you like.
Go on, we want to hear them.
Most people who are trying to want to get some songs in movies. I heard about Randy Newman's technique.
Go on.
He has a tape recorder on top of his piano, and he presses record, and it's just fumble, 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 clank, crash, fumble. And then he starts playing, sings the song, presses stop. The most rugged demo, unusable demo, just sounds terrible, because now demos are so fancy. Most people handing in demos, they're not demos. They're ready to put on the radio. They're like fully produced. They've got drums, bass, they've got everything, and it sounds really
So why does his technique work, this kind of...
Well, because the problem with the key to the song is if it works with just the vocal and just a piano or just a guitar, if you've captured something in that, the energy of the feeling or the something, if that works, then you are sailing to the finish line, because when you start adding the band or the orchestra, it just starts to fly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And if your demo has got all these layers on it and it's not quite right, it's an absolute nightmare. So something really smart about that. Like if your song works with just one instrument, then it's going to work with a lot of instruments. And
are you a particular fan of people like Randy Newman?
Huge fan of Randy Newman. I think he's amazing. Yeah, and I guess partly because he's sort of I like his music, and I guess he's also does film stuff, so he's a bit of someone I look up to. Yeah.
There's a song on the record, I think it's called All I Need, which I think you were influenced by seeing George Harrison in Get Back. Was that right? The sequence where John Lennon's talking to him about how to think of ideas.
Yeah. God, that documentary is so good. And they made that, because Peter Jackson made that in Wellington. So there's this little connection in Wellington to that. And I remember we watched that. Me and my wife were watching that, got absolutely obsessed with it. And there's a piece in that where George Harrison has got a song, which it's a classic. It might be like...
it's something, isn't it?
It's something.
It's something. I was going to say it's something.
It's something in the way she moves attracts me like, and he doesn't know what to say.
Cauliflower or pomegranate.
Yeah. And John Lennon goes, just say pomegranate. Just say pomegranate and it'll come. I was like, that's really good advice. So then literally for the whole tour, because that song, I played that live on the last tour, I just sang pomegranate throughout, in the verses. But the longer you leave it, sometimes the harder it is to finish a song. Like,
Yeah.
so, because I don't know, because the chorus was just, I feel like the chorus in that song is very strong, and I wanted to make sure the verses could keep up with it. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, sometimes I regret not keeping Pomegranate in the final version because it was so good.
Well, John Lennon generally did, didn't he? His placeholder lyrics just stayed in the finished version. He could never be bothered to change them. Everybody else.
He has some very casual lyrics in there.
Weird.
Oh, yeah, just off the top of his head. But it's interesting watching
really
that
good.
film because it's such an insight into, well, so many things, but one of them is the songwriting process. I mean, just the way they write, you can actually see them doing it spontaneously composing. What did you learn from watching it?
I just really, because, I loved watching other people writing songs and watching those legends, and these songs that you know so well. I loved seeing Paul McCartney under pressure, because often I'm under pressure to write a song, and you could see he's like, Jesus, John's not going to bloody write anything. Look at him, get down.
We've only got 2 days to go.
I promised these guys we're going to make a movie. We've got an album. What the fuck? He's like, you could tell him up all fucking night, just at the piano, just keep hitting it, just keep chords, just something will come. And then when he brings out, is it
It's Get Back, isn't it? When he's just strumming the bass.
He's just like, and you can see he's like, just push, just something will come out, and he starts saying something, and I loved, and it just comes out. I was like, that's pretty. I mean, obviously he's a master, and it's rocking. And then I also loved the moment where he sings something, and then John goes, he's so cheeky. He says the opposite, just to kind of annoy Paul, but it actually kind of works as a lyric. So it's like there's little, just like, I can't remember exactly. He's like, I need you. I don't need you.
Oh, yeah.
He often does this thing where he says the opposite.
It's getting better all the time. Can't get no worse. He just throws it in, doesn't he?
Throws it in, but it actually ends up being really cool. It's like you've got these two minds, two parts of you singing within the song. Anyway, I absolutely loved it. Yeah. And I felt like I was so sad when it finished, because it felt like it sort of feels like you're kind of you're living with them for a bit.
No, yeah, it's true.
It's true. No, you miss them. So on the record, you've got various phenomenal LA session players from the immediate fan, people like Leyland Sklar or something. So what's it like? Is it intimidating to work with people who've worked on these massive international hits?
When it's been a real joy getting to work with these LA session legends. I mean, they are legends. And they were on the movie. So I met them on movies. And then I said to them, I'm thinking about doing some, just some music that's not for films. And Leyland Sklar, the bass player, real legend bass player, was like, oh, that sounds great. I'll do it. And I was like, wow. And it was actually, really inspiring, because it made me think, oh, I should do this. It just gave me a real boost of confidence, even though I was kind of trying something new. And yeah, they're intimidating at first, and actually people in the studio are quite nervous around them a little bit. Like no one wants to tell Lee, the bass player, if his sound isn't right. So there's a song on this album. I mean, because I've worked with them a few times now, I've gotten more comfortable and confident, and also I'm a little bit, I don't know, maybe because I'm from New Zealand or something. They're like the engineer's like, oh, what are we going to tell? No one. The bass sounds crazy. What are we going to tell him? Like, it sounds insane. He's like, occasionally Lee just puts on an effects pedal without telling anyone. And like, there's the song called "Shouldn't Have Come Here Tonight," which he absolutely nails it. And we get to the end and we're like, yeah, it's great. And like, we go out like, what's that on the bass? You don't notice at first because you're kind of excited by just the overall tracking. And I was like, yeah, it's sounding good. And I'm singing along, getting the guide track, and then we listen back like, what's on the bass? And Lee's gone to get a cup of tea or something. Like, hey, it's got like, he's put a chorus pedal, no, an octave pedal on. What is that? And then we're like, oh my God, that's a nightmare, because we could tell it wasn't going to mix. We're like, and there's like, okay, we got to get him to
do it again.
Do it again. But everyone's like, no, I'm not asking him. I'm like, well, I'm not going to ask him. Mickey Petrarca, the producer, and there's like, so okay, I've got to ask him. So I asked him, I was like, Lee, would you mind doing it again? And Lee, have you heard Lee's stories about his bass? Have you talked to Lee?
Yeah, I've talked to him. He has a special switch on one of his basses where a producer asks him to put a bit more whatever on it. He just flicks it. It does nothing at all.
It's not connected to anything. It's just the same sound. He also has another switch that he flicks, and it turns on an LED light of a hand flipping the bird. He's got a good punk attitude, and but real gem, so lovely. And anyway, he obviously is very happy he's very obliging because you're doing the song, and he's like, whatever is right for the song. So then he redoes it with the normal bass sound. We're like, great, that's better. But the thing about him is, like, 6 months later, you're mixing the song, and you're like, yeah, that original sounds actually way better, right? And so you're like, damn,
he's made more. He's made more records than you have, hasn't he?
I mean, exactly. So whenever they say something like, yeah, exactly, I was like, he's onto something. And Dean Parks is the guitar player, another beautiful man and absolute legend. He's, the most recorded guitar player ever, they say. I don't know if you've spoken to Dean, but you should definitely get him on the podcast. He's really great. And one time we were working on a song, he goes, Bret, well, first of all, he played with Steely Dan. There's a lot of the Steely Dan solos and stuff, a lot of the Steely Dan guitar stuff. He does that kind of beautiful jazz, kind of slick LA rock kind of sound. And I was working on a song, I was like, oh, could you do a solo like the Steely Dan sort of solos? I was like, yeah, I got that, Bret. I got that covered. And then out comes the solo, is like literally sounds, it's from the first
note for note.
That's LA. It sounds, I mean, it's a dream for, I was like, this is insane. It sounds like Steely Dan. I love Steely Dan. And this time there's a song, that same song, Shouldn't Have Come Here Tonight, with Lee's crazy octave wonky bass driving the whole track. There's a solo in it, and it was quite cool. Dean is like, I pushed Dean to get really weird. I mean, they can do anything, these players, so it's kind of cool. I was like, I want you to be like a sort of like a used car salesman taking a solo on the lot, and he just plays this awesomely deranged solo, which is one of my faves. But one little thing I was going to say was, Dean goes, sometimes, Bret, on a Steely Dan track, you just put an acoustic rhythm track just down low, and it would kind of glue the song together. And I'll be like, oh yeah, well, let's do that. That sounds like a good idea. What else would you guys do?
What else do they do?
That's brilliant about saying you want to be like a used car salesman on a solo. That's brilliant. And it works, definitely.
Yeah, he rocks it. But yeah, such nice guys. There's such, I guess, to be a great session musician, you've got to be a really good person to hang out with.
So absolutely. I think that's the key thing.
It's a community thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Really, really cool people. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're touring in the UK.
You've got some dates in London, haven't you, I think?
I'm doing a small tour to support the album coming out, and we're going to come to London for a couple of nights in October. East London, Bush Hall, I think it is. And
West London, I think.
Is that West London?
London.
West London. And I'm bringing, my band from New Zealand. So
right.
They're rocking, and they're kind of like the Wellington session players,
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. And it should be really fun. I toured last time, and I sort of figured out how to play live with a mixture of my music and still making it fun and a bit of comedy in the stories for the audience who are sort of confused by me not doing comedy a little bit.
Right. But you're bringing the band all the way from New Zealand. That's a big undertaking.
Yeah. It's super fun, though. It's super fun, yeah.
So is that all from your albums then? That's not any of the movie stuff or any of the Concords or anything like that?
Well, I usually play like a Concord song and maybe a song or two from film stuff, and then tell a few stories which inevitably become ridiculous. And I do this thing, and then I play songs from my records, which I'll try and do as much as I can from the new one. And I do this thing I tried on the last tour, which is pretty fun and slightly harrowing, which is I try to write a song with the audience. So I ask for a story from someone, a volunteer who wants to tell me about maybe a heartbreak story or something, and then jot down lyric ideas, and then start writing a song. And then the band, because they're all great players, they can just jump on, and suddenly I can throw up backing vocal ideas, and the song almost magically, not for musicians, but for an audience, it's a little bit like a magic show. They can't believe that a song has appeared out of thin air.
To give us an example of the kind of thing that people say, you just pick someone in the audience and they shout out a line.
No, they don't shout out a line. I ask them a story. So they tell me their story, and I kind of a bit like, you know, like you guys, you kind of like ask a little more questions because I'm looking out for something that sounds like it might be a song idea, but people share very hilarious stories.
What kind of things?
Like the first time I tried it was in a small town in New Zealand. I did it in this little town where we were touring, and I thought I'll give it a go just to see if I can do this. And I didn't tell the band I was going to do it. They were like, "What the hell's Bret up to?" And then there was a woman in the front who said, "Oh yeah, there was one. Yeah," she goes, "Can you write a song about falling out of love?" Right? And I was like, "Okay." And I said, "Oh, so have you broken up?" She goes, No, my husband's right here. And you're like, oh, okay. And then we rock into this. I do a sort of Diana Ross kind of disco track. And and you just get more stories out of more little lyric ideas. And it's pretty, there's like a simple song, but it's really fun. And the audience is so nervous because they're on the edge of their seat. I'm usually slightly stressed out, trying to frantically just find something. And I remember saying to my wife, Hannah, you know, halfway through the tour, I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing this because it's so stressful. But at the same time, it's everyone's favorite part of the show. Yeah. So we finish the show and people go, oh, I love that bit where you make up a song. And I'm like, damn, spend years writing and recording these songs and people just want this ridiculous thing.
You see,
anyway, it's fun. It's a fun live. It's a fun live.
It's so completely the opposite of what most shows are like.
But no British group would ever do that.
No, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't dare to do that. I wanted to ask you about this, that, you know, another New Zealand performer. I mean, I've seen Crowded House those times, and they do not that, but... There's a kind of relaxed attitude to dealing with the audience that seems to me very New Zealand.
That's true. It's a very in between songs. It's very casual. Like, yes. I know Neil Finn really well, and they chat a bit like you're in their living room.
Yeah,
and
it's a very social thing, isn't it? They've always, you get the feeling everybody started playing in the front room in front of the family or whatever, and they've slowly developed out of that, you know? Yeah,
I think there's a bit of a self-deprecation going on in that it's very rare that you get a New Zealand band who be in between songs going,
how
awesome, you know, and
it wouldn't happen.
Just really wouldn't happen. I remember playing in America and me and Jermaine talking about how we've got merchandise for sale, right? You'd talk about the T-shirts or something, and Americans would cheer, like, that's great, you're making money. Yeah. We're like, what on earth? We're so embarrassed.
You'd be really embarrassed if you've got any money left.
We try and turn it into a joke. We're like, we've got merchandise, we've got a T-shirt. It's this one I'm wearing. It's the only one we've got. You know, we'd be doing jokes like that. But they were New Zealanders would never cheer. It's like the UK, would not support promotion of you making money, whereas making money, this is interesting. So that is a Kiwi thing for sure, to play it all down.
But it's like you were saying earlier on about the New Zealand humour. I mean, it is kind of just self-lampooning, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think New Zealanders are actually really proud of themselves, and sometimes I think it can be a false humility that's a strange layer, or it's like they're like, oh yeah, it's just a song, and then afterwards they're like, I reckon that song's way better than any other song in the world. So it's a funny thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, very good. Well, we should look forward to you're coming in October.
Yeah. Come. I don't know if you guys are near London, but come along if you're in London. And then hopefully we'll come back again, do some more shows next year. Yeah.
Right.
Fantastic. Well, very good. And and we should remind people that the record's out too, isn't it? Freak Out City, is that right?
Freak Out City is with Sub Pop, and it's out in August. Yeah. Have a listen. But I'm really happy with how it feels quite cohesive as a record. Actually, you know, like we was talking about how often it's songs that you hear now more than a record. But I feel like the whole thing has a kind of feel that is has a oneness to it. Which
It's got one song that you didn't write yourself. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Go on, tell us about that.
It's got one John Prine song.
Why John Prine? That's interesting.
Okay, so he's another songwriter who writes weird, funny lyrics.
Absolutely.
This was my friend Drew Erickson, who plays keys on some of the album and does the strings, really becoming a pretty big producer in LA, and he said to me, he'd been reading some book by some LA hotshot producer from the 70s, and he said, Bret, man, you gotta put a cover on this album. That's what they used to do. Just put one cover, get a hit song, put it on the album, and then that way that pulls all your songs up with it. And I was like, okay, cool. And then
so a hit song. Let's go for John Prine.
I chose a rare John Prine song, and I got that part wrong, but I do love that song.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Really
so that was why I tried that. I think, and it reminded the Harry Nilsson, right? You know that album that's got it's Nilsson Schmilsson.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that whole record, but the song I can't live without I can't live without you.
Without you.
I can't live if living is without you. That song, it's not, he didn't write that song.
No,
that's a huge hit. And in a way, that song absolutely pulls that album up into being classic,
Because the rest of the album, there's all sorts of stuff. There's a Louis Jordan song with that record. All sorts of weird things, isn't it?
It is quite weird, eh?
It's very weird. There is nothing about Nilsson Schmilsson that isn't weird.
Yeah.
Starting with the cover. Think about that. And that was a multi-platinum album featuring the artist wearing a dressing gown in the kitchen in the middle of the night with the munchies looking at the fridge.
Isn't it?
I'm sorry.
It's a kind of drug joke, I think, isn't it?
Really. Everything about it is weird. Jump into the fire. The whole thing is weird. Coconuts. It's all weird. And
Jump into the Fire has been used in so many movies, though.
Well, Martin Scorsese had that. He carried it around for years trying to get it into film until he got it into Goodfellas.
Yeah.
He was determined it was going to go in something. And then after Goodfellas, it was in loads of films.
Now it's the go-to build-up energy.
It's the weirdest multi-platinum album you've ever come across, Nilsson.
I feel like that Jump Into the Fire track, they got to the end and they're like, God, it's really short. We need another 10 minutes. Like, okay, just jam out this for, I think we need 8 minutes. That song's so long, takes up half the record.
Extraordinary record. Well, look, it's been fun talking.
Absolute joy.
Thanks for chatting, guys. That was fun. Yeah,
very good fun.
And best of luck with whatever your next film challenge is.